everybody. This is Maddie Cross with After Hours Radio. And today on the show, we have Alison Rey. Everybody say hi to Alison.
Hello, everybody.
So, Alison, how did you get started in the business?
Well, I was actually a college student at the time, and I was looking at swingers websites with my ex-boyfriend, and we were looking for couples that were around our age because we were very new to it. I wasn't ready to jump in with like a 45, 50-year-old when I was like 18. So we were looking for people around our age. We found one couple it was actually the only couple that was even close to our age. And we were getting to know each other. And she was like, well, I'll tell you what, that's like the first thing anybody asks is, oh, what do you do? And she's like, I'll tell you, but don't freak out. And I was just like, do you deal drugs? Like what? And she's like, well, I do porn. And I'm like, oh, cool. Just tell me about it. And she was also a student and telling me how she would go out, shoot a little bit, come home, focus on studies. And that was how she was making a living. And that sounded great to me at the time because I was taking 21 credits per semester. And that it just sounded great. So she helped me get an agent, come out to LA and started shooting, and I loved it.
Nice. So how long did it take you to get in with the studios once you got out there?
Oh, I mean, I signed with an agency in July. I booked a plane ticket for like August 14th, and my first scene was like August 15th.
Oh. Yeah. That's pretty good. And I guess being with an agency that's probably the best way to go, do you think?
Especially for somebody who's starting out, I think so, because the industry can be so tight-knit that people are afraid to take a chance on new talent because you don't know if they're going to be respectful on set. You don't know if they're going to give you a good scene. You don't know if you're going to have, a lawsuit coming up of somebody crying rape. So having an agent to vouch for you, to say, hey, this is a new performer. She's very serious. She's going to do great on your set, I think is really valuable for new performers.
Okay. Yeah, because I always wondered about that. I mean, being fairly new in the business myself, I was wondering, because I've only been in for the last year, I was wondering what the best way to go would be, with something like that and everything. I see that you're with Adult Time. How long have you been with them?
Could you define with Adult Time?
Well, shooting, because I saw your Between the Sheets series.
Yes.
Which looks really interesting. How long have you been doing that with Adult Time?
The Between the Sheets series with Adult Time was a very limited series. We just did the 3 episodes. It didn't perform as well as we wanted it to continue investing into it, which was disappointing, but it was a very experimental type format for scenes for them because they're so known for their high production value, very scripted scenes that I just don't think it really fit very well with their brand. So we started that project like 8 months after the pandemic hit and finished it maybe within 6 months of starting it, put it out to the world, and we haven't continued on with that. Okay. I have been working for, I guess when I heard with Adult Time, it made me think like being like a contract star or like an ambassador for Adult Time. I'm like, I'm not that fancy. Right. I really appreciate you think I am, but no. But I have shot for them for a very long time, and I actually run their TikTok account, and I have been a part of their crew on and off for many years. So I do a lot of work with them, but I just guess I don't feel like I'm with them.
Right. So it sounds like you do a lot of the behind the scenes work as well that people don't realize.
I did for the past, pretty much since after the pandemic. So something I think a lot of people can relate to is starting a job because you need money, you need support, especially after the pandemic. A lot of people got laid off and they started doing something just because they needed the work. And that's not to say it wasn't something that I was very interested in doing it. And what I realized once I got there was it wasn't quite what I was expecting. The amount of stress that directors take on that we as performers can be so blind to because we're so caught up in our own performer bubbles.
Right.
I quickly realized that I was no longer doing what I really loved to be doing, which was performing. So I have done lots of behind the scenes stuff, and I will continue to do behind the scenes stuff. It's just not where my true passion lies.
I'm envious of you. I saw that you got to shoot with Sherry DeVille. I am
Oh yes,
so jealous.
I love Cherie. She is. We're really good friends. She actually hired me as her assistant years ago, and we've now like we just made a great friendship out of it. So I'll put in a good word for you. I know she
Please
loves
do.
shooting
Yes.
content with
Yes.
people.
Oh yeah.
Where are you based?
All the way up in North Dakota.
Wow. Well, whenever you come to LA,
Okay.
if and when, I'm sure she would love to shoot with you. She's always shooting with people for OnlyFans.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'll have to definitely keep that in mind and stuff. I've made it out there once so far, but hey, I'm hoping to make it back again, most definitely. So are you going to be at Exotica or the AVNs this year?
I'm most likely going to be at AVN this year. The last AVN, I was like, this will be my last AVN. And I just like went out with a bang. And now with I think the pandemic did it to me because it was right before the pandemic where I was like, oh, this is great and whatever. And then COVID hit and now I miss all my friends.
Right.
So I've been craving going out and doing the fan meet and greets and stuff, which is funny because, like I thought I was kind of like hitting all right, I'm ready to like calm down out of it. I'm like, I miss this shit already. Like all I had to do was go behind the scenes and I'm like, I really want to interact with everybody again. So I haven't booked anything for AVN yet, primarily because, I have just other priorities at the moment, but I will most likely be there. I'm not going to make Exotica this year just because I'm recovering. I have other things going on, but most likely AVN.
Okay, cool. So would you mind sharing possibly one of the funniest things that's ever happened to you on a shoot?
On a shoot? I feel like I get this question a lot, not just in like interviews or podcasts, but even when I'm on TikTok live. And like I tell everybody, I'm like, it's such a, like there is like a monotony to the job that I think a lot of that is lost. And it's one of those questions I don't have an answer to. Like, when people are like, what's your most embarrassing moment?
Right.
People who are not embarrassed easily.
Right. Yeah.
Have an answer to it. And I kind of feel like that's one of those things with this job. Like, are there funny moments on set? Absolutely. But nothing really stands out to me as like, this was,
Right.
I can tell you plenty of stories of like, this was a not fun moment on set.
Right. Yeah.
But funniest things, I mean, there was one time that, I don't know. It's funny in hindsight. It wasn't funny at the time. Was this, I was in a 69 with this girl and we were, mid filming and she farted, but it was completely silent. So I only knew it because I smelled it, but I'm a pro. So we just kept going.
Right.
So I think that's hilarious looking back on it. But at the time I was like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh man. Do you have any guy, any man that you have always wanted to shoot with that you haven't had a chance to yet?
I would probably have to say Johnny Sins.
Okay.
He's been on my list. There's not a lot of guys that I haven't gotten to work with. But he is one of them. There's just never, he's kind of on like the mind geek track and I'm on the adult time track and they're a little bit, they don't cross paths too much.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so, because like they contract their people and they have a certain look, and then same with Gamma and Adult Time, like they have a certain look,
Mhm.
and we're on opposite sides of the train tracks, but
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
one day.
Okay. And what about women? Any women you've wanted to shoot with? And
Mm. Well, I just got to shoot with Serene Siren uh, for a content trade shoot. So she was a big one, but I just got her off my list. I
okay.
think I'd also really like to shoot with Siri Doll.
Okay.
She's gorgeous and just such a kind human being. So I'd have to it was Serene, and like now I'm like, ooh, I need to pick a new girl crush because I just conquered that one. So I'm gonna have to say Siri.
So what draws you to a female performer? Is it the personality, the look?
Very much the personality. I will first be attracted to a look,
Okay.
but I am very, very quick to uh, decide if I'm going to continue my crush on that person based on their personality. So once I meet them, it's like that crush is either completely dead, or I'm like, oh my gosh, you are like the hottest thing I've ever seen. And like, I really want to get my hands on that.
Yeah.
So definitely personality and the ability to really communicate well, no
Mhm.
matter what it is, whether it be communicate her needs on set, communicate her desires to her scene partner, communicate to fans on Twitter, like her opinions and views.
Mhm.
I really like somebody who can form a connection with
Right.
when we talk.
Right. Right. Yeah. How do you find the people that you shoot with?
For like OnlyFans?
Yeah, for OnlyFans.
So most of the people I shoot with for OnlyFans are performers that I have worked with on set before. So when we have a good scene together, afterwards, usually I or they will say, hey, like, do you shoot content? Like, I'd love to do this again. And then we'll exchange numbers, and then
Mhm.
we'll end up, shooting content together. It's been a very rare occasion that performers have reached out to me like via DMs. Like there've been a couple guys that have done it. I don't think I've ever done it with a girl
Mhm.
that would reach out and ask if I wanted to shoot content. But other than that, it's usually meeting someone on set.
Okay. Now, do you prefer doing the professional shoots, or do you prefer the amateur more?
They're so different in wonderful ways. It's like I love chocolate ice cream when I love vanilla ice cream. It just depends on my mood for the day. I love playing dress up and acting. Like I think that part's so fun. I love having a whole crew to hang out with all day.
Mhm.
We're always cracking jokes back and forth. Everybody's usually very friendly on set, and it can just
Mhm.
be a really great work environment. But because there is so much external stimuli, it can be hard to really focus on just my scene partner, and
Gotcha.
that can make it a little more difficult to like get full pleasure during those scenes.
Uh-huh.
So for that reason, I prefer the like content trade OnlyFans shoots at home because I can really take it at my own pace. I really don't have to worry about anyone but me and the person I'm with. They're just, yeah, they just have totally different vibes, and it's hard to say I like one more than the other. They both have
Mhm.
their place in my heart, and it's just
Yeah.
the only hard part about it is with a shoot for a company,
Uh-huh.
even if I'm not feeling it that day, I
Uh-huh.
still have to go into work. I don't want to let all those people down. But
Right.
if
Right.
I'm not feeling it that day on a day that I've scheduled content trade with somebody,
Mhm.
then all I have to do is call them and say, hey, like I want to give you everything. And,
Right.
I don't want to give you a mediocre scene. Can we reschedule? And most
Right.
performers are really understanding of that because they are
Yeah.
performers and they
Right.
understand that like sometimes you need the right sexual energy for a scene. So
Yeah. Yeah.
content trades can be preferable for that reason. There's a little more
Mhm.
flexibility there.
Yeah, yeah. So you have a non-industry business as well.
I do.
You want to tell us a little about that?
I will. I'm not commingling my two professions at
Gotcha.
this point because
Gotcha.
yeah, it's an unfortunate truth that I think working in this industry will or could damage my reputation in that industry. But I can say that it is in the wedding industry. I'm just not going to give you my company name
You're right,
or like
right.
real details about it, but it
Exactly.
primarily has to do with like event planning
Mm-hmm.
and really taking care of the fine details. Like it's not
Yeah.
like full wedding planner,
Right,
but
right.
there's some like small details that I want
Nice.
to help brides with.
Nice, nice. Okay. So also, can you tell us a little bit about your feature in Women's World?
Yeah, man, that was such a fun project. There are so like features are always fun just because you really get to get into the mind of the character. You're with everybody for several days. It's not just like a one and done scene. Like you have time to develop your character. And that story was so fun because it's women's world. The idea is that there are several wishes upon a star, and overnight, all of the men in the world turn into women. And so we follow a lot of characters through their like first few days of the world being full of just women.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of hilarity that ensues. You see a lot of things like there's a news report that talks about like uh, you know, tampons are now accessible through your local pharmacy for free for every woman, like things that would happen if there were only women in the world. And
Right,
it was
right.
just such a fun premise and like kind of a sci-fi
Mm-hmm.
kind of vibe, but shot more as a drama than a sci-fi.
Okay.
So it was so fun. I got to play Amber, who was a sex addict. And the idea for my character is that I have basically ruined my life because I have been having copious amounts of sex with way too many women. I'm a lesbian, I'm having too much sex with women. So I'm gonna
Okay.
go on like a boys retreat and I'm gonna be the only girl there and it's gonna help me like reset, like I'm
Mm-hmm.
basically in women rehab. And I
Okay.
wake up and then it's all these women. And funny enough, that day that we shot that, I then got to have an orgy with all of the women that I woke up to. It just wasn't billed as the same as part of the feature. They should
Huh.
have though. But it was so much fun to kind of get to be the center of attention with all of those girls. Because funny enough, I was booking the talent for that feature because I was working with the crew that shot the feature. So I was playing production assistant and production manager most days and performer.
Oh,
So
wow.
I got to kind of hand pick my performers for the orgy, which was amazing because you never get
Nice.
to do that.
Yes.
It's just like
Yeah.
every single girl that I wanted was there. And it was a blast. We had so much fun. Like the raw sexual energy of everyone in that scene was fantastic.
Nice. Nice. So, um, what kind of future projects do you have in the pipeline?
Well, I am halfway through shooting like a magical booby transformation movie.
Okay.
So I just got my breasts done about 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we shot the first part where, obviously I had my natural tits at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And once they are all healed and ready to go, we're going to shoot the second half of the movie where now I have boobs kind of
Mm-hmm.
magically. So
Mm-hmm.
that's upcoming. That's with Mind Control Theater.
Okay.
Very excited for that. It's just kind of a cool concept. There's not a lot of scene, that's like a once in a lifetime scene, which is cool. Other things I have coming up, I am going to be releasing my first anal scene on my OnlyFans within the next 3 months or so,
Okay.
which is going to be super exciting for my fans because in 8 years in the industry and I still have not done anal with a guy on camera. So that should be a fun new thing for people to start enjoying. I'm excited
I bet they're
for it. I'm a
chomping
little
at the bit for
nervous.
that.
Oh yeah, they keep asking, and I'm like, maybe it's time.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, how about give us a rundown on where we can find you?
Well, the easiest place to go is just AlisonReyFans.com. It has all of my social links, all of my, my sexy auctions, OnlyFans, all that. But if you're trying to find me on Twitter, where all the not safe for work stuff is Alison Rey XXX. But I'm most active on TikTok, and my username there is Alison Rey X.
Awesome. Excuse me. Well, thank you so much for coming to see us and visiting with us today. It was great talking with you. And I'm hoping at the AVNs, if you end up going this year, that I'll get the opportunity to meet with you.
Yes, I would love
to
to actually meet you in person, give you a hug,
Yes.
and introduce you to Cherie in person. Be like, hey.
Oh my God, I'll be a fangirl. I won't know what to do with myself.
She is so sweet and wonderful. Like, I really hope you get to work with her. Like, she's by far my favorite performer to work with.
That's awesome. Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed, and hopefully that'll come about. But thank you again for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. And this is Maddie Cross with After Hours Radio. And I hope everybody enjoyed our interview with Alison Rey today. And be sure and check us out for our future podcasts that we do. Thank you.